Today we're going to talk a little bit about the battery in our Roadtrek Zion SRT. Hi everyone. Yes, we're going to talk batteries today. I'm talking the chassis battery now in the Roadtrek Zion SRT. If you have one, or if you've read about them or checked any forums, you do know that there is some parasitic draw on the battery with all of the other electronics. And maybe 2 weeks, sometimes a little less. If you don't run it or you don't have a trickle charge on it, the battery will get low and go dead on you. That's a common occurrence with these. It's a well-known flaw, if you will, but it's there nonetheless. We have not had too much trouble in the past. I'm going on 3 years now with this van, and we don't know how long the battery's been in it because it was produced obviously the year before I got it. So I don't know exactly how old the battery is, but recently I started having a few issues with it running out after about 3 days, which I thought was unusual, and I thought, well, you know, when I go on my trip to Florida, I shouldn't have any problems because we're driving most every day. And but just to be safe, I took a jump pack and put it in the van, so I had it. We made 4 days without any real issues. I think it was 4 days. Yeah, 4 days. On the 5th day, in the morning, the van would not start. I went to start it when I was firing up coffee and other things just to keep the batteries, the lithiums charged, and the engine would not start. So I put the jump pack on it, started right up, no big deal, and off we went. And another day went by, and we took off for another location. The next morning, it would not start again. This time the jump pack wouldn't work. So I had to call for a road service and get somebody out to jump the van. They also brought a jump pack, which did not work, which I was kind of glad. I was afraid maybe something was wrong with my jump pack, but apparently when the battery is really, really gone, jump pack won't quite do it. So they hooked up some cables. We went battery to battery. It did start. And we'll get into that in a minute. The other thing I wanted to touch on relative to that is it was fairly chilly, so typically we had an electric heater going at night, set a very low temperature, but a couple times during the night the volt start would kick in the starter and start up the engine. I kind of assumed that would help keep the chassis battery charged. I think I was wrong. It's running at idle. I don't think that puts enough of a charge on the battery if it's in a depleted condition and wore out to keep it running, because the last day when it actually failed, it went into volt start and wouldn't start. So it had already done it a couple times during the night. So I think that was actually not putting as much charge on the battery as the drain was, and it was basically making the situation worse. Anyway, after we got it started, I had talked to a friend of mine, David, in Dade City, and he had mentioned to me that, and I didn't know this, apparently I should have, but you can go to places like AutoZone, buy a battery, and they'll put it in right while you wait. So I had it running. I looked up AutoZone. There was an AutoZone about a half a mile away. So we drove straight over there, went in, bought a battery. They put it in for me, and it started up, and we've been fine ever since. Just to be safe, that particular day, we were going to do some casual driving and truck stop for the night, and then go to David's the next day. We decided discretion was the better part of valor. We went to David's a day early. Him and Valerie were busy, so they really couldn't entertain us, which was fine. We had no problem with that, but we had a parking spot. David was there. We had transportation if we needed it, and tools if we needed those. Fortunately, we didn't. No further issues. We finished that day off. the next day and the trip home without any further issues. So keep that in mind. When you start getting 3 days is all the life you're getting out of the battery and you got to jump it again, it's probably time to replace the battery. And also be aware that even though you've got an alternator on there, typically you need some RPMs on that engine to fully charge your chassis battery. And I don't think that was happening with Volt Start. We were keeping the lithiums peaked, but we were not actually helping the chassis battery. So a couple things to keep in mind. And then the bonus, don't forget AutoZone, and I'm sure the other automotive parts places, buy a battery, they'll put it in for you. So we just pulled in and waited while they did it, and we were back on the road. Quick fix, lesson learned, and hopefully you'll find this information of a little bit of value to you, especially if you're riding in a Promaster chassis conversion van, whether it be Roadtrek or some other brand. Another thing I wanted to mention, for those that are not familiar, the charging or jump starting of the battery is under the hood, though the battery is under the seat, actually under the floor in front of the driver's seat. But there are terminals underneath the hood. They are on the, as you're facing the engine from the front, they're on the right-hand side. Here's a couple photos of the positive and the negative terminal. And if you don't know exactly where, if you open your door and look at the side of your dash, you'll see the release for the hood. So that's good information to have too if you've not experienced it yet. Take care. Thanks for following along, and we'll catch you down the road a piece. Bye-bye.